Okay, here we are. This is the latest production line developer blog. Can't remember the number. I always have to look it up. This is a car factory strategy game for PC by Positech Games, which is more or less me. I'm Cliff. I am the programmer and designer. Still in early access at the moment. Can talk about the stuff that we did in the last week. So I'm just going to load in my latest game. And actually, if I just pause this for a second, this game is like a test one I did in order to test objectives, because there's a scenario for this now, and I wanted to test that I could actually beat it because I design the game and play it a lot, so if I can't, then it's too hard. It is quite hard, but it is doable. So what we have is in 10 days sell 3,500 cars, sell 1,000 expensive cars, and produce 85,000 car components. It's funny because when I first set up this this new objective, I think it was like produce 10,000 car components or 20,000 or something. And then when I was like playtesting it a lot, I thought, wow, you actually do get to produce an enormous amount. This dialog box normally comes up when you've won, when you beat the scenario. But we made a change for this so that each time you complete an objective, it now sort of pops up to let you know how you're doing. So, and which is one of the changes that we've made. So we've got a new scenario, and we changed the way the UI works for that. Something that we put in, if I just break things here, it wasn't immediately obvious to everyone that when you get these messages that pop up, that say next slot not found, that one's not ambiguous, but these are messages coming from the car. So if they say, I can't find, a slot to do this or whatever, it's the car that actually does that. So if it's a car that needs a specific slot, and you get that error message, it is that car that is giving you that error message. It's quite hard to explain why you need to know that, but you do, because there are circumstances in which it's confusing. So something that I've been doing a lot of sort of work on is sound effects, and the sound engine is currently broken a little bit in terms of the 3D positioning of stuff. You can probably hear some sound effects from, I think that was car horns, wasn't it, which are getting fitted here. Now the volumes are wrong, and I haven't quite worked out why yet, that they're all over the place. But basically we now have sound effects for stuff like fitting car horns. We have sound effects for the dryers and stuff being painted. And see, I'm not getting them triggering at the moment, but also anything that makes a component with a press, that also has a sound effect. You probably can't hear them at the moment because there's a technical problem that I'm looking into. These have like laser sound effects as well, and basically there's a lot more kind of factory noise that is specific to like where you're looking. If you've got a lot of components being produced, there'll be a lot of like sort of crunching and slamming noises and everything. Yeah, it seems to be sort of like backwards. Anyway, I use sound middleware, and I'm asking the people behind that what I'm doing wrong, because I would like to get the sound effects to be better. What else do we have? Blah 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 blah. There's some new icons in the research thing that show the actual machines. So if you're doing like tire manufacture, that's the tire manufacturing machine. There's another one somewhere, because they tend to default to these, the fuel tank manufacturing, because it has a special machine as well, and there'll be a lot more of them over time. So something that I did recently, we upgraded the forums on our website, so we have really cool new forums that send you email notifications with all sorts of links, and then link to other topics that are of interest, and you can like topics and you can earn badges and all this stuff. Anyway, we have new forums and they're really good. They still have all the content from the old forums. So one of the first things that I put up on there was a kind of like development roadmap for all the stuff that I know I still need to do and when I was going to do it. So I'll put a link up to that, hopefully, if I remember. and then it immediately went wrong because the artist isn't available to do some of the stuff I wanted them to do at the right time. So I'm having to rejig the roadmap considerably, because the next thing that I wanted to do was to put in car battery manufacture. Because at the moment, if you're making electric cars, you just have to buy in the battery. Oh, it would be a fuel tank thing, wouldn't it? It'd be down here somewhere. Where are fuel tanks? Hey, yes, well done. We'll continue. So these are car batteries, small battery packs, large battery packs that are all imported. I want it to be possible for you to make those, and I've like planned out how to do it, but I don't have all the artwork for it yet. So what I may do is I may do all of the work involved in putting it in with like placeholder art, and maybe even release it with like placeholder art. And then we'll just put in the final art when it's ready, because I think it'd be a really cool part of the game, and I don't want to not put in the new kind of like gameplay and the new functionality just because I'm waiting for some artwork. So I'll probably be doing that. We have a new vehicle on the way as well, like a little van. So one of the things that went in was like a postcard mode. Now, we've never had a button to take a screenshot, but here it is. We've got a button now. You just press print screen, and oh, see, yeah, I don't have a /. I need to change that, don't I? Oh, how annoying. Anyway, if you hit that button, you'll hear like a camera shutter. It doesn't make any sense in the year 2018. Like, unless you're my age, you don't remember what camera shutters sound like anyway. Anyway, that takes a screenshot, like exactly of that. If you hit this button, it takes what we'll call like a postcard screenshot, which turns off the user interface. It turns off everything to do with the user interface and takes a screenshot without it. You don't see that; it's just like saved out. So what that means is you can, if you do this, you see where all the like this purple and orange comes in. That's because it's just impossible to render the detail of the world in like that level of detail when you're zoomed out this much, especially if you've got a big modded factory. But in postcard mode, it kind of does. So if I do that, I'll now flip up and show you what that screenshot looks like, because it's completely different. So if you want, like, you know, big desktop wallpaper of your factory and it's amazing, and you don't want all the UI, you can turn it off with Shift G, but then if you zoom out, it still all disappears. So this is, instead of doing that, if you just want a screenshot. If I let it continue to render like that, the frame rate would really suffer. So I'm not going to be doing that. So what we have coming is basically battery stuff and a new vehicle, but there's a bunch of other things that I may rejig. So for example, let me just go back to my scheduling thing. Marketing campaigns at the moment, if we go into marketing, they're only brand awareness. So basically what these campaigns do is they just get more people into the showroom. Whereas I think it would be interesting if we had different sorts of marketing campaigns. So we'd like to have marketing campaigns that were specific to a particular model. I think that would be cool. So you could launch a campaign that, for example, promotes your sports cars or promotes your sedan range. And I think generally that's what happens. You don't really see an advert for like, or you don't have an advert that's purely targeted at like the Lexus CT200H or whatever. You're generally promoting the brand and a particular kind of car. You're not promoting the one that has those specific options. So I think rather than having marketing campaigns that say, come to Positech Auto Industries, we make cheap cars, it'll be like, look at our amazing sports cars or our amazing SUV range. And then that would make people more likely. I think I can hear paint spraying. See the sound levels around. That would make people more likely to buy any car with the SUV body type. I think that makes sense to do it that way, rather than pick a specific model or a price range. But I'm interested to know what you think about that. So my thinking is that you'd have this here, you'd go launch and then you'd pick what model, and then maybe if we go into the sort of the marketplace here, for example, all of the pickups would be more likely to sell, and maybe I'd need like a little tooltip or something on there. I don't know quite how to display it to people. I'm really not covering all bases here. If you've been playing the game a lot and you think it's really hard to make luxury cars, it is really hard to make luxury cars, and we have other tech that we want to put in. I want to put in faster engines and stuff like that. Also, there's, if I like scroll ahead a lot, yes, I want to put in parking sensors, I want to put in auto steering. Eventually it would be great to have like self-driving and stuff like that, heads-up displays and all the rest of it. We haven't really milked the whole possibilities that you would have in luxury cars. So I'm always interested in ideas on how to do that. I think generally it's going to be performance based, isn't it? I mean, you know, bigger engines. We don't actually have four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive as an engine option, or would that be a transmission option? So there's loads of room to put stuff like that in. So it's been a bit of a kind of bitty week, frankly, because of doing all these kind of like little minor things, and there were a few bugs I was looking at. I know some people want bigger factories, and I want to support bigger factories. I could even edit this one, couldn't I, to add like an extra thing here or there. But I would like to add probably another scenario with a larger map size that was just bigger in every way. I think I saw a bug there. Did you see that? There was like a little phantom car hanging around somewhere. It's so hard to tell. So yeah, I'd like to get like a bigger scenario with a bigger factory, because what I want is I want this with this level of output, but more optimized and better. Oh, see, there it is. They're being drawn there, and they shouldn't. It should only be when you zoom out. Bug. So basically, I want this, but bigger and more efficient. But I want battery production as well. And if you know anything about the Tesla factory, and the fact that they're building their own batteries at a completely separate factory that's absolutely massive, the Gigafactory. We're not going to do that, obviously. And in the last video, I talked about the stages that we're going to put in terms of making batteries. But I would like to think that an area maybe this big would be set aside to like make batteries or something. So we do need bigger factories. Bigger factories are cool. Anyway, so that's the stuff we're currently working on. I wish I had the sound stuff working properly, because when you sort of catch it right, it is really cool. But hopefully I will get that in the next few days, and we will have an update in maybe a week or so with a bunch of new things in there. Anyway, this is production line. We are still very much working on it. We've got a whole list of new artwork and new features that are going to be going in. Thank you for buying the game, thank you for playing the game, and do leave a review for us on Steam if you get the opportunity to do that, because it is much appreciated. And I will remind you, we have cool new forums, and I will be heading there this afternoon to like answer any questions people have and reply to things. We'll get some really good ideas from players in the forums, so you know, it would be great if you could sign in there. I think it supports Gmail login and Facebook login and Twitter login, or all sorts of stuff, so it's really easy to get involved with that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next week.